Mike, check 1 2 1 2. Jason.
Check.
Jason Wilkins. How's my hair, buddy?
Perfect.
Yeah? Thanks.
How's mine?
It looks great. Yeah, not a hair out of place. Not a hair out of place. Welcome to the Tiffany Show. Jason Wilkins.
Cheers.
Artist,
Bubbly.
human being. Let me pop this. There we go.
Thank God.
Wonder if that picked it up. You know what? We did a mic check, but we actually didn't check that the mic check was successful. So let's do that and then roll out.
Okay, let's do it.
We'll be with you momentarily.
So, I'm using my glasses. And I'm doing stuff. Okay.
Weird
fine.
though,
Whatever.
right?
Whatever.
Oh, we're still recording.
Oh, okay.
Here we go. We are in Jason Wilkins' factory. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for coming on in here.
We're just going to jump right in.
Yeah.
How we roll. What are you drinking?
Oh man, I was trying to hide it too.
Oh my bad.
I was going to have a coffee cup, but no, we have leftover wine from the first Friday.
Oh, I love First Friday.
And it sucks to have it just sit in there, you know?
Yeah, that's fair. Do you always have the glow in the dark set? Like, is that the vibe?
So back here, we usually try to like do the black light because we have, so some of the graffiti stuff I've done back here, just the paint that I used actually is black light reactive. And then Kevin, who's my arts collective, the Peterborough Arts Collective, shameless shout out, is the director of the group. So he has like his own little spot up here.
Oh,
so he does that.
Oh,
yeah, no.
Wow. Are I allowed to show that?
Yeah, do it.
Come on, I'm going to bring you with me. Let's
There you go.
Let's take a look.
Isn't that cool?
Isn't that neat? Back it up.
So
how cool is that?
That's Kevin, Art of Spy Poet on Instagram.
Art of Spy Poet on Instagram.
Give him a follow.
Give him a follow.
Yeah.
If you're not already following Jason Wilkins' Factory, I also recommend.
I do too.
Come on back here. A renowned artist.
Renowned. Okay.
Yes.
I like that.
Done work for New York Fries, TikTok, Jumanji. Is that
McDonald's? So
McDonald's?
we can show people later if you want.
Yes.
So that was a thing that The Rock retweeted out. So which was cool.
You drew it.
I drew it. So above, yeah, we can show it. So above it is the printout of the Twitter.
Let's go look.
Let's
go
check.
together.
Let's go on a field trip.
You know what? Yeah, we're traveling.
So I did this just for fun. So it was when Jumanji was just coming out. They were just filming it actually, and I threw it up on Twitter, and then yeah, he retweeted it.
Oh my gosh! And you put that up there too.
And he says, "I see you're ready to play." So this was, oh man, I don't know, 4 years ago. I'm not sure how old. Yeah.
That is freaking cool. Let's just do a little spin around, take a little lookie at the studio.
There's the merch wall.
Ooh, there's a merch wall.
Over there.
Oh, we're gonna have to get one of those T-shirts.
Yeah,
Are those water bottles too?
Yeah, those are leftover from a client job. So I put them up there because I want to start customizing those.
Oh, brilliant.
They're really nice.
If we want a customized water bottle, should we be reaching out to you soon?
Should. Yes, because they're going to go quick.
I think so, Dan. Yeah, I'm going to order one. 100%. 100%. One of those is mine.
Taken.
All right. Wow. It's such a neat studio. I got to say, we're going to walk by some artwork on the wall over here. That's done by a 17-year-old artist. They were featured in First Friday Art Crawl. Wilkins Art Factory. We've got some questions for you today, my friend. I just kind of wanted to get to know you.
Yeah.
Tell a bit of a different story. Why don't you start by just telling us about yourself? What do you like? What do you not like? What's your favorite Starbucks drink? Candy, fun facts, anything you want to share with us?
So the first thought that comes to my mind is pasta. So I know you have an appreciation for pasta. So pasta is my kryptonite. So I'm trying my best to stay clear of it for, the foreseeable future. It's tough. It's a tough one. But I still do pasta, especially at Tasso's, chicken parm. Okay.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Drinks, Tim Hortons.
Yeah?
Yeah, my wife likes Starbucks, but I can't get on board with it really.
No, Flavor-wise, too much?
Yeah, it's too real.
That's fair. That's fair.
I enjoy art, and hanging out with the kids and the furry kids. We have 3 cats.
Oh.
Our puppy just passed away.
Oh.
So that was sad.
I'm so sorry. That is hard.
He had a good run.
Yeah.
He had a good life. I just like having people in the studio like you are today and hanging out. And
that's awesome. What's your least favorite candy?
Lisa from Couture Candy better not be watching this part.
Sorry, Lisa.
Yeah. Least favorite candy. I'm not a fan of like real chewy candies. My go-to is M&M's.
Peanuts or just chocolate peanut? It's got to be peanuts for me.
Peanut M&M
or almond.
Yep. And I'm a real sucker for Reese's too.
Ooh, Reese's Pieces or Reese's Peanut Butter Cups?
Cups.
And do you just eat the inside? What's your deal?
I will nibble like around the edge.
Yeah.
And then you just like.
Yeah, I'll pick the edge right off.
Yep.
And just dispose of it like some kind of.
And we are actually kind of on a big O. Henry Bites kick.
I'd like O. Henry Bites with no chocolate on it.
Yeah.
That'd be delicious.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah,
the crunch. Right.
Anyway.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, favorite color. As an artist, you gotta have a favorite color.
Oh man. So I love hot pink. I love light blues. It's like the greeny blue.
Okay. Seafoam.
Yeah. Yeah, like seafoam.
When it comes to being an artist, obviously you've got natural talent. What sparked that initial interest, and how have you seen your career and passion evolve over time?
I always say that it kind of grabbed hold when I was real young, and I don't know like where that exactly came from. My grandpa back in the day was a layout artist, so which would now be a graphic designer.
Okay,
so
cool.
he would. So basically, yes, he would color separate posters through plates. He told me a story. He said, it was his whole career. So back in the day when you could have a whole career, 40 years or whatever at the same place, which is wild.
Yeah.
He would always say, as soon as they introduced computers, like I'm out. And that's what happened. And they said,
really?
Now you got to start using computers. He goes, I'm retiring. So if I got it from anywhere, it's got to be him. No one else in my family has any artistic ability at all. Sorry guys, but it's true. And it just kind of grabbed a hold of me pretty naturally. I feel like, I always say you can be taught to draw. Like anybody can be, but there's got to be a little spark there. And if you, like anything, you don't foster it, you don't, work it and pay attention to it, then it goes away.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I've never really done that. It's always been there, always had it. And I always talk about it being like a little like cartoon figure on my shoulder, like always whispering, like, it's okay, I'm still here, even if there's times where like, I wasn't doing art, which there was a very long period of time where I wasn't really doing it.
Oh, wow.
But it's always there and it doesn't go away and then it comes back. And so I kind of reached that point where I went all in on it. Right?
I love that. Mm-hmm. I was reading a journal book the other day. It's called Fearless and Fabulous. And one of the things that I actually highlighted in there was that our passions are our callings. Mm-hmm. And, sometimes we're just naturally good at things and we don't really think about that. Mm-hmm. But it really is those things that bring us joy, that kind of give us that excitement. And that's what we should be chasing in life. That's our calling.
That's my passion, is trying to get that across to especially kids, because when they're younger, you can get them, and if you can get them, and because there's a lot of chatter from, I talk a lot about this stuff, outside voices, parents, friends. Do this will make you the money. Do this, I did this. Look how well I'm doing. Blah blah blah. And the problem with that is you're robbing these kids of an opportunity that's just theirs.
Really
right?
and truly.
And so even if it's not arts, I don't know, whatever you want to do, be an accountant, be a lawyer, be a doctor. I don't, work at a bowling alley. I don't care. Like, if you love it, things happen, right?
Things happen. Yes. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what this book is about too, is about chasing it, and the universe just aligns. Like, opportunities drop on your lap as you put yourself out there more and more.
Yeah.
So when we talk about opportunities and specifically your artwork, if it could tell a story, if it could change the world, what truth or message would your artwork send?
my stuff's always been grounded in like positivity, action, hard work, just following. It always sounds cliche, but it's very true.
It is.
Following your dreams, making sure that the action matches the level of your dreams. So making sure that you've got those things aligned, because you can dream all day, doesn't make any difference if you're not following it up with action. So I was always raised that way.
Love that.
Like work incredibly hard. Don't take anything for granted. So it's all kind of rooted in that kind of thing. But really the underlying message is just positivity and kindness and love, right?
Yep.
So making sure everyone's got that. And if you lead with that, then you're good to go, right?
I love that you mentioned those actions, right? Because it doesn't have to be this grandiose action, activity, gesture. It's like these little micro things that we can do just along the way.
Little bits here and there.
What worked for you? Like when it came to Jason putting himself out there.
Yeah. So I went a long time with not doing art. So
wow.
I'll make it a shorter story. So basically, left art school, worked 10 years in a call center here in Peterborough.
Yeah, I've been there.
GM Financial, which was AmeriCredit.
Yep.
So I had a young son out of art school. We came back to Peterborough, no money, the way it goes.
Yep.
Put food on the table with that job. Met a lot of amazing people with that job. Don't regret it a bit. It was a really good experience. And then I kind of just up and left it with nothing. Absolute zero. Because I just couldn't do it anymore. And when you're pulled in a certain direction, like when you're creative or when anything's kind of your calling, there is a certain point that comes where, you're just kind of pulled in that direction completely.
Right.
So that's what happened to me. Kind of left it.
Wow.
And then so a lot of bad personal things happened where my marriage ended. And I always feel weird talking about that, but I think it's really important because out of those experiences, really good things are born.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to me. It was horrible. It was bad for everybody. And, it's not something I would have chose, but honestly, the best thing that ever happened because it forced me to reevaluate.
Right.
And I wasn't doing anything productive at all. And I am now literally a completely different person than I was when that happened, right?
Amazing.
And you just hit restart or you don't, and you just
continue on that path.
Right. So that's kind of what sparked that kind of personal growth stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which led into being more creative and
wow. Those spaces that were uncomfortable, right? That like force us to, like you said, reevaluate kind of where we're at in life, what we actually want to or love to do, and just kind of shifts that lens completely.
Yeah.
So when it comes to your environment, how do you feel your environment influences your artwork?
Yeah. So I love being in here first thing in the morning. There's no distractions.
I love a morning.
Right?
Yes.
So I'll sit at my desk for a bit and I'll and I've never been like one to meditate, but that's kind of what's become of like, I'll sit in my chair and just kind of like let thoughts kind of percolate. And then once that's kind of filtered through my file folder in here,
processing.
Then I can be creative and kind of put everything into it. But I also love the environment of like being at an event and being surrounded by people while I'm drawing something live. I get a real kind of high off that because it is almost like a performance art kind of thing.
It would be.
Yeah. And I'm very comfortable in those environments where, people watching and seeing what I'm going to do. It almost forces me to do better and be better.
I love that. Yeah. The pressure of the moment.
Yeah. So I love both. I love solitude and being in here, and then I also love being out and where the energy is and stuff, right?
Oh, it fuels me as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Human beings just really put you in a high gear, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So you sort of talked about meditating a little bit at your desk, kind of starting your day in the right headspace. But when it comes to being blocked, like even I get creatively blocked. I'm like, I gotta come up with an idea. I'm completely blank.
Yeah.
What does Jason do to clear that block, to shift the mindset, to get yourself in the game?
so again, I'll do that, kind of let things sort through. And then really what it comes down to is like being quiet. You know, I love people around, but in those moments I need to be quiet by myself. Shower's great, you know.
Oh yeah.
Like for most people.
Yeah.
Like you're standing there and all of a sudden just stuff happens because you know 100% you're good. Like it's your time. And so those are the moments, right?
Interesting. You're right. In the shower, you're safe, you're secure, you know what's going on.
Unless you have kids, which I do, sometimes they come in.
Okay. Like, I don't have any. Like, that's all me.
Dad, I'm like, geez. 2 seconds, please.
so just kind of bringing it back to the quiet, maybe put yourself in spaces that you know.
Yeah. And sometimes what'll happen is I get a client job, and if I'm not entirely super connected to, like, say I don't know them very well, or I don't know what they're all about.
Right.
And I'm not super connected to what they're doing. I'll do some research and basically try to wrap my brain around what they're all about. And then that enables me to sort of inject my style into kind of match up with what they're all about. And sometimes that'll do it too.
Wow. I feel that. Yeah.
You got to get to know the vibe of, you know, what they're going for. But they also come to me for a reason, like come to me because they've seen my stuff. So there is that marriage of like, they want what I do, but they also want to project, you know, their vision as well.
Through you. Yeah.
Right.
Through your medium.
So it just takes work. Sometimes I just sketch, but a lot of thought.
I think it's really interesting that you just made that point that sometimes they when we're approached.
Yeah.
And like for all of you out there that are starting out, that are just getting passion, maybe you just had your first person approach you. They're approaching you because they know your worth, because they know what you put out and they want to be aligned with that. And I just as you said that, I felt like there's just something really powerful in those words and sharing those with somebody else. It's kind of really that worth.
Yeah. And creating that connection with, you know, that's really important. And if you're not connecting with whoever it is you're working with, then there's a problem, right?
Agreed.
Even if it's not a long-term connection, at that moment, you should find some kind of something there.
That common ground. Yeah. A little bit of magic. And it's interesting that you bring up connections, because it segues me into my next question, which is asking you if you can share a specific person or moment that has impacted your life.
I think, well, for sure my papa, who the studio is named after, right? So it's the George Gallery.
I didn't know that.
Right. So that's my papa.
Oh my God.
So he passed away in 2021. So he was my biggest influence for sure. And he was an amazing, I always call him the ordinary, extraordinary guy, because he was just basically, he would go to work, come home, look after his family, go to work, come home, look after his family. Built our cottage.
Wow.
Basically just created this foundation for our family and where I learned a lot about legacy.
Right.
And you can have a massive impact just by being you, right? Like that's who he was, and he was the best guy ever. And so he's created this real legacy that's in my entire family of positivity, hard work. None of this would have, I can safely say none of this would have happened without his influence, right?
Without Papa George?
Without Papa George. So he's for sure my biggest influence.
Oh man, that's special. Grandparents are so special.
Huge. And, you know, we're going to go down another path.
It's all right.
So basically my biological dad wasn't around.
Right.
So I had a lot of male figures in my family who were in there, you know, and again, without that influence, right? So yeah, I've always made sure that it's really important to be there for your kids, and it's a big one. Yeah, it's a big one. Yeah, I'm really doing well here.
Got me in the heart, buddy. Yeah, totally. It's
So he's not, again, and he wasn't. You know, I have artistic influences too, but nothing would happen without that.
Without that special person in your life.
Right. Yeah.
Oh man, that is beautiful.
Yeah. And even in business, he kind of climbed the ladder where he was because he was there forever.
Right.
And he kind of said, you know, if you ever hire someone, do this. And if you ever, so he kind of left that too, right?
Interesting.
And I was like, I'm not going to hire anybody. What are you talking about?
Joke's on you. Can I ask, did he work in Peterborough?
No, he was always Toronto.
Oh, he was Toronto.
Yeah. So they moved here when I was in grade 8. We all moved here as a family together. And then, because it was close to the cottage, right?
Oh, brilliant.
So, but I was born in Scarborough. We've always lived in Scarborough when I was a kid. Moved here in grade 8. And yeah, but he commuted for about 10 years after he moved here.
Oh, what a commute.
No kidding,
that's
right?
Ugly.
I know.
Yeah,
but
brutal.
Yeah, he did it, and that was it. So
good on him. We talked about how he kind of instilled like this work ethic, positivity, kindness, sort of moving forward. But in moments of doubt and adversity, did he share anything with you, or do you have anything to share with us that keeps you motivated, moving forward, getting through to the other side?
So it is funny because like I'm of the generation, like I'm 46. So like I'm of the generation of you're fine, like get over it, whatever. So we're in a different time now. And I think it's a natural progression, and it should happen. But there's also something to be said for powering through and mustering up whatever you've got and believing in yourself and not overthinking and just going for something that you want. And yeah, there was never any, when I was a kid, there was just, you're fine, which is also not necessarily the best advice, because you should deal with whatever's bugging you.
Yeah.
And that's important too.
Absolutely.
But I've always just, you pick yourself up and you just go. Right. And if you're not doing that, then you're staying still for too long, that's when you're opening yourself up to, you know, just being static, like you're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So you got to just power through. I think that's how I deal with things.
Find a way. We all have different ways.
You got to find a way. Right? Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I know I've definitely been in those dark places, you know. And
yeah, sure.
There is sort of something, I guess, you know, for me anyway, that calls to me. That's like, get up.
Yeah.
You gotta get up.
Yeah.
And I remember when my dad, when it was coming to his end of life, one of the things, like I remember at like 4 a.m., you know, you just can't turn it off. You're ruminating, you're crying, you're thinking like, oh my God, if I could just save his life. Yeah. And at some point I heard a voice just say to me like, Tiff, you need to survive this. And that was like, oh my God, I do need to survive this.
Yeah.
I need to make sure that I stay on the course of what I'm destined for, what I've been working so hard towards. And yeah, so, you know, in the same sense, sometimes you hate to be like, pull up your bootstraps, and that's absolutely not what we're saying. But sometimes there is just this little tiny spark inside of you, and you got to lean into that little spark, because it's what's going to keep you holding on.
And there's also the big thing for me is gratitude. So really kind of, and that's also overused, but it is very true. You have to understand how good we all have it. And even if you're in a rough spot, there's always something to be thankful for. And that will carry you through the worst times for sure. And we all have to experience those bad times. If you're not going to, then you don't know what, it's the compass, right? And when you're experiencing those bad times, and you come through them, which you will, you'll just be better for it, because you'll know how to deal, right? It's just building it. That
moral barometer. Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's funny. It's like you've almost read these questions in advance, because you've set me up for the next one. What role does emotion play in your creative process, and how do you channel that emotion into your work?
So it does lead into the previous one, actually, because, you know, you may not be feeling it one day.
Right.
Like, you have work to do. There's work to be done.
Yeah.
And it's fun and it's art, but it's still serious work, and you got to get it done. There's deadlines, there's stuff. So you just got to muster it. And I literally come up with those ideas or that motivation just from, like, I'll come in here, I'm like, how can I complain? It doesn't make any sense. Like, this is what I get to do every day. So even if it's a shitty day, and I can say shitty, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Good. We're not censored. There's no network.
You know, even if you're having those days, how can you not, again, gratitude, looking around, being like, you know, what are you whining about? Like, sit down, do the work, and you just got to go at it.
Sometimes in the morning too, like I'll wake up and I'm not hardwired to be positive, but I try really hard to fight that narrator. And so every once in a while, I have to put on like one of those like motivational talks where like the military guys yelling at you.
Those are great.
Right?
Those are great.
They snap you right out of it.
They do. I will do that. So I'll have like and they're everywhere. You know that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So those are really good for that.
I thought about making some.
Yeah.
You know, wouldn't it be fun?
You could.
Just yell some motivational things at people and get those snap out of it. I know what would work and what works for me for sure.
Yeah.
But I love that you shared that because it's not easy being a business owner. And yeah, I mean, we don't need to undervalue the fact that you're an artist and a business owner, right? You're double whammy. And a lot of entrepreneurs do their passion as their business, but not in the sense that an artist does their passion as their business.
That's the rough part when you're creative, and I still struggle with it. And I'm pretty open about that. And like, there's always shit that's going to go down when you run a business. So there is that where you're running the business, but you're also trying to be this like creative person. For me, it's oil and water. I have a real hard time with it. So it's just learning, and it's just trying to get better at it. And that's all you can do. Yeah. And
how do you approach the balance between staying true to your artistic vision and fulfilling what the client needs?
Yeah, so early on in my career, I would do whatever. You know, something came through the door, done, I'll do it, whatever. Now I'm kind of in a different position where I can pick and choose somewhat. Like if something comes through and I'm like, that is not going to line up. Like I discovered, I've had so many people ask me to do logos over the years. And I think I've tried it like a couple times and it's always gone sideways.
Really?
Yeah, like it just didn't work. So there's certain things that now come through, and I know from experience, I'm just like, I just can't. It'll fall apart. So you got to be true to yourself. And
So when it comes to our final question of the day, Jason Wilkins, can you share any significant life lessons or principles that you live by?
Wow. You're coming with the questions.
Coming in hot.
No kidding. You really have to, back to the first part of the discussion, you gotta really go after what it is you want to do. You're working most of your life.
Yep.
We only have one, as far as we know.
Yep.
And you know, it's easy to say, and I've had people kind of push back on this. You've always known what you want to do. You've always been an artist. It was just, you know, you hear all this stuff, but also know, you know, if you really want something to happen, it can happen. Yeah. And, you know, being a full-time artist, I've had many people over the years kind of say, you know, what the hell are you doing? Like it's not possible, you know, you can't. But when it's in you and you have a passion, you got to go after it. 100% has to happen. And it may take you 10, 20 years, which it did for me. I'm kind of a late bloomer as far as being self-employed. You know, I've done lots over the years, and I hit 40 and that's when stuff started to happen. So when you tell young kids this, so I'll go in and do little talks, and it's like, you know, I don't get it. 20 years, like it's not happening. Everyone wants stuff now.
Yeah.
But trust me, you know, you just got to hang in there, and it becomes easier when you love something. If you don't love it, oh my God, I would have given this up ages ago.
Yeah. How can you give the time to it, right?
So foundation, family, if you can, you know, I always say if I can leave the house and I feel like everyone's good, then I can be the best at what I do, right? So if things aren't great, you got to deal with that. And then, you know, family, going after what you love, and you got to be ready to take on the obstacles, and you know, and then on the other side are really good things usually.
I think that's inspiring, because I'm 36
Right.
And I feel like I'm just getting started, right? Well, and sometimes I do think at night, like, oh my God, what am I doing?
No, it is so funny because people think they have this timeline, and because society says, you know, job, house, marriage, kids, whatever it is.
Yep.
I've been through that. I've been through that, and sometimes it just doesn't pan out, and you got to just make sure that you're attaching yourself to the things that serve you. And if you're not doing that, then you're in a heap of trouble, I think. And,
I think you're right. Yeah. And it's easier to find peace in your soul because it's aligning with your core values. It's aligning like things that you love that actually bring you joy. And that's what we should invest our energies into. Right?
And by the way, this all comes from a lot of mistakes. This is
100%.
This is how you know. This is how you know. This is how you become knowledgeable. There's so many mistakes that I've made, and those are also important. You got to do those too.
Yeah. Got to have those missteps.
Got to do it. Yeah.
So that brings us, Jason, to Fast Five. Nobody has ever answered these in 60 seconds, but I always try to make it happen. It ends up being my fault. I'm a bit of a chatterbox. So let's go. Fast Five. Jason, best thing about life.
Oh my God. What are you trying to do to me? Best thing about life?
Best thing about life.
Oh my God.
Is it the time crunch? We don't have 60 seconds. You've got all of it. How much time do we have? 34 minutes is what's left on my phone.
Oh man. Okay. Best thing about life. If you're in the right spot like we are, freedom. Right? Freedom. Yeah.
An act of kindness that touched you and rippled.
For some reason, I just thought about my high school experience, and I've had some really good teachers. I don't know.
Oh, I love when.
So that just kind of popped in my head. So kindness for sure, family. I come from a really good family, but yeah, I went to PCVS. Shout out PCVS.
Oh my God, you're the second person I've interviewed and back-to-back that went to PCVS. I feel like PCVS would have been my high school if I was in Peterborough.
That was a special place.
That would have been my jam.
So I had some great teachers. So that's important too.
Lucky you. Yep. Yeah, good teachers, good influencers. Little Jason. If little Jason were sitting with us on this couch today, what would you tell that lad?
Hang in there. It's going to happen.
Love that.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah.
If you could eat one food for the rest of your life, what would that food be?
Ravioli.
Oh, yeah. Give me the pasta. Meatballs is mine. Favorite place to shop? Visit PTBO Kawarthas. It's your moment to shout out any businesses that you want.
I have to say my arts collective. So
yes,
PeterboroughArtsCollective.com. So I started that to raise other artists up. We use the studio for that purpose.
Follow them, Instagram.
Yep. We always have First Friday here. So Arts Collective. And I'm going to do the blanket statement and say downtown is where it's at. Yeah.
I love me some downtown.
There's also Lansdowne Place, which is like I'm a sucker for.
Honestly.
And the kids like to walk through there.
Right. So. Ride those. And the adults are allowed to ride those animals at some point.
I know. That's a major draw right now.
Yeah,
I know.
100%.
Yeah.
This has been The Tiffany Show. Jason Wilkins, you are truly a gem. It's been a pleasure getting to know you, my friend. Check him out online. What's your website?
WilkinsArtandCreative.com.
WilkinsArtandCreative.com. Go out there and get some. Be kind. Take care of each other. All of those good things. This has been The Tiffany Show.